So out of almost nowhere, or rather with no actual announcement, Nintendo dropped a Nintendo Direct Mini, even though it was essentially full length. But yeah, they just dropped a Direct out of nowhere with no announcement or forward at all. And I'm very curious to see what we think about this, because myself, I am through the roof. Because guys, they basically announced a sequel to Wii Play Tanks in the form of Battle Tanks as part of the Clubhouse 51 Games Worldwide Classics, or whatever that title is. I never saw that coming, so yeah, that's a neat little thing for me. But that aside, real talk, let's talk about how the overall Direct was. What are your guys' overall thoughts on everything we had here? Because we didn't have much in the way of new game announcements, but we did see a fair amount more of things that we had already known about. Plus a Smash tease, which we'll get into very soon. So, overall thoughts, guys.
Nintendo definitely doubled down on stuff we already know about. This was not a Direct about, or a Direct Mini about announcing new stuff, and that might be why it was positioned as a Direct Mini. Right. There wasn't a lot of new, or really much of anything new, other than like smaller games announced in this Direct Mini, which is, I think it's okay, because again, it is called a Direct Mini, and they did take a lot of time going in-depth into stuff we know is coming, like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Bravely Default 2. So, while it isn't necessarily exciting for people who want a bunch of new stuff announced, I think it's exciting that we know more about some big upcoming games that are going to be hitting the Switch in the next month or two.
Yeah, it depends what you're into, right? As an RPG guy, I found Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Bravely Default 2 to look incredible. Yeah. Especially, well, both of them look great, but Xenoblade Definitive Edition goes well beyond the scope of what I was imagining for that. It looks like a full-fledged remake, and we'll get more into this later on in the discussion, but it looks like the new content looks standalone. I can't wait to dive into this.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Xenoblade to be so... Like, I knew they were going all in, but then seeing it, you know, before my eyes and actually getting a real sense for what exactly they're doing with this game, I'm so much more excited than I already was.
I think it's a really great Direct Mini. I think that it's the most packed one I can remember. I was actually more excited for some of the more offbeat stuff. Like, I'm excited Panzer Dragoon is dropping today. I had it on the Saturn. I can't wait to try it on the Switch. Good Job looks super interesting. I can't wait to try that either. I love these kind of like wacky little games that Nintendo likes to drop. Stretchers was really cool too. So I'm really excited more about the smaller announcements that we got. I'm excited to see all the 2K stuff coming to Switch, even though we kind of already have been hearing about this stuff. But overall, I think it was really good.
Yeah, I will say the last Direct Mini announced Mario Tennis Aces, it announced Tropical Freeze, and I believe it also announced Dark Souls. So in comparison to that, this is kind of light on announcements, and I think that one was a lot better as a mini. But it's just a cool little update on games that we already know. But I can see why some people are disappointed by this.
I feel like maybe this should have been called a Nintendo Direct Micro, perhaps, to focus in on those smaller announcements. Because yeah, I pretty much agree with Steve. Like when it comes to smaller announcements, this is actually pretty cool. But if you were looking for bigger game announcements for a better idea of what's coming this year for Switch in terms of first-party support, this was not the Direct for you. Which is a little disappointing. Even when it comes to like the Smash announcement, it didn't. It both clarified it and didn't at the same time, which is weird, and we'll get into that. But there are some things here that for me, I am personally excited for. I'm actually really happy about that Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics thing, because that actually looks really cool. It looks good. Yeah. Yeah. It has a lot. I mean, first off, 51 games. Even if you don't care about most of them, that's still what 20+ games you'll probably have some enjoyment in, including, as I said before, Battle Tanks, which again is Wii Play Tanks, which is amazing. They also had a few other games that looked like they were from Wii Play in there. I think they had like air hockey. I saw some definitely explicit references to that game, which is cool. And yeah, it just looked like a really fun multiplayer bundle, including online play. And then also for me, that Ring Fit Adventure update is freaking awesome. First of all, hats off to Nintendo, like good guy Nintendo, for releasing free awesome DLC for a game that no one can even buy right now because it's sold out everywhere. But those who do have it need this game more now than ever. And they need to work out. I just started playing the game myself recently, so the fact that they released this awesome DLC update where they added a new music rhythm mode where you play along to both songs in the game, as well as some brand new ones added to it, including Mario Odyssey's Jump Up Superstar, Splatoon, Wii Fit, and Breath of the Wild melodies. It's super cool. Then they added a jogging mode, which is something I've been asking for since the beginning. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. So yeah, in terms of small stuff, that's cool, including even the third-party stuff like getting Burnout Paradise, and then for me, seeing Episode 1 Racer, or actually, I don't know if this is part of the Direct. Was Episode 1 Racer part of the Direct, or?
Kind of.
It was.
Okay,
it was, yeah.
For it, so they weren't explicit about what it was, but yeah, basically it was announced.
That's cool. That's something I never expected to see again. So the fact that we're getting an update or remaster of that game is really neat. So yeah, it depends. It depends on your perspective. If you're looking for new announcements, like brand new games, this is a very disappointing Direct. But as a Direct Mini, well, it could have been worse. Anyways, let's dial into some of the bigger announcements, and of course, we have to start off with Smash Brothers.
Of course.
Because they announced the next Smash Brothers character game. That's right. They didn't tell us who's coming, but they did tell us that a character from ARMS will be the next Smash Brothers Fighters Pass character, which is a unique way of doing things. But, while we may not know who it is yet, I do think we have a clue as to who it isn't. Because if they're not telling us who it is, there is no chance in hell it's Springman. No chance in hell.
Springman's already an assist trophy
as
well. I mean, they definitely could change that. There's no standard to say that assist trophy can't be a fighter. But you're right. If they're teasing who it could be, it's probably not going to be the guy on the box art, right?
Right. Well, that could be. That's like the most boring possible outcome too. Why announce? Why make Springman a secret if he's already an assist trophy?
Exactly.
That can't be him. I mean, you guys already know this. I'm pulling for Twintel. Please be Twintel. That would be so hype. But it could be anybody.
Yeah.
I kind of like the way they're doing this, because they could have teased it more. They could have just said who the character is. But this way, because it's so far off, they're kind of giving you an expectation and not making your hopes go too far open for who it could be. But they're also letting speculation continue, which I appreciate, but I would also like something a bit more impactful than just like, oh, we're going to tell you more later. But, ARMS is something I think a lot of people discredited, because it was big when it came out, but it kind of came and went after a while. And because it missed the first Fighters Pass, I think people just kind of wrote ARMS off as a potential fighter. And yeah, I think there's tons of potential here. There's some great character designs in this series, and I kind of think it could be Ribbon Girl as well, because she's one of the only characters with multiple jumps, which works extremely well for Smash.
True.
I'm kind of with you, John. I think I agree with Ash that I want Twintel in the game. I think she's the more interesting character, but when I think about Ribbon Girl's mobility and arms and the fact that she has the double jumps, and she also has the ability to drop out of the air really fast, I could see her being a really tricky character in Smash. I would like to see either one.
Well, plus if they want to take the hero approach and have multiple character skins for the same overall character, that does kind of disqualify Twintel if they decide to take that approach, because she would be the only one who would be fighting a little differently, given that she fights with her hair instead of her actual arms.
That's a good point. Sure. I think Ribbon Girl does stand a chance, because she was basically the second mascot character of ARMS. I feel like they featured her a lot more, and I feel like besides Springman, she was the next runner-up in terms of attention fighters got. Myself, for as much as I would love Twintel, and I would, I also wouldn't mind seeing Lollipop. I think she's a really fun character, and she would be perfect for Smash. I think just with her just wild aesthetics, and would just be a really fun person to use. I think more so than Ribbon Girl, who I like, but I think Lollipop just has way more personality.
Agreed.
And that'd be
amazing design.
Yeah, fantastic design. The only reason why I think it won't is because she, of course, did come later, wasn't part of the initial roster, and I think that might be a mark against her.
True. I also don't think we can discount Min Min or Ninjara. Both Min Min and Ninjara are pretty popular.
Min Min is a great choice.
Min Min won the final competition, right? I think she was the favorite of the entire community because of that.
She was my main for while I played ARMS, so.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance it could be Min Min, just because
so.
She's got a lot of star power behind her.
What do you guys think the gimmick of this character will be? Because every character in the Fighters Pass has had some kind of unique attribute, and they said in Fighters Pass 2 they're going to sort of continue that mindset. So is it just going to be range again? Because they've already done that with not only Byleth's Lance, but also with Richter and Simon. So I'm kind of thinking, what if the gimmick of this character is customization? Kind of like a Mii fighter, but with more of the custom move approach of Smash 4. What if we have tons of arms to choose from, and we can fully customize and utilize different movesets with these?
Oh man, that's a completely wild idea.
Or maybe there could be a whole special devoted to switching out certain arms. Maybe you can cycle through a couple of different arms as part of a down special, which completely changes up the attacks you're able to do.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. And how are the arms mechanic? Is every attack going to be a long range attack, or Like, your arms always extend full distance, even if you, like, unless you hit. Like, they'll go to the full distance, right? So, if you miss an attack,
there were a few short-range arms. I think there was a shield arm that you could use, and there was also, like, those explosive ones, those auto-target ones. So, there's definitely a lot of potential with... Well, there's infinite potential, really, with all the arms mechanics in there. You can dual-wield different arms, too.
You know what I'm excited for, potentially, is a long-distance grab. I really hope they have an extreme grab length. That would be something that's pretty unique. I mean, even longer than the hook shot, for instance, or the grapple beam. I want this to go, like, halfway across the stage.
The entire stage.
I'm curious about whether their final smash is going to be like a rush attack or not. That would make the most sense, but Springman already does that. It's like part of his assist trophy routine, so I wonder how they would try to differentiate that from Springman's rush attack that already exists in the game.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, there's so many ways they could work with this. Like, what if you had independent arm control, too? Like, what if you could fire an arm in one direction and another completely opposite it?
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm kind of picturing, Piranha Plant's pot move where he pops out of the pot, long range. What if you could do that with both arms, essentially? Just fire them off in two different directions. How cool would that be?
That'd be super
That
cool.
would be awesome. And I gotta say, whether or not it's Ribbon Girl, I would love for the stage, the arm stage, to be Ribbon Girl stage, because I think the shifting platforms really lends itself to Smash very well.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Considering the rush attack, I think that's kind of underwhelming for a final Smash. So what if the rush attack was part of their general moveset, like Cloud's Limit Break?
That's true.
What about there's this bar that fills up and you can unleash it at any point, and then the final Smash could maybe be like, in the reveal trailer for arms, when Springman's sort of jumping down in the arena and there's all these arms flying at him. What if, like, the final Smash is just a bunch of different arms, like 20 arms come out and just tons of different abilities just sort of shoot at a player or something like that? Just something more climactic than a rush of punches.
I agree. I really hope it isn't just a rush attack.
You know what would be a funny final Smash? What if they, like, use the basketball mode and they grab an opponent and just throw them through a hoop?
Oh, that's my favorite one.
That's a good one. Yeah, that has to be it.
Done. Yeah, nicely done, John.
Or volleyball, just spike them into the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, either one of those would be awesome.
Yeah.
What if it's like Ken and Ryu's Final Smash, where like long range it's volleyball and close up it's basketball? That would be cool.
Amazing.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about this. Like, I've wanted an ARMS character myself. I'm just not sure if I love the way they announced this, just because. I mean, it is kind of fun that it gives us a different way of speculating now. Like, we now have we now know what spectrum to look at, which is kind of neat. It's novel.
Well, it was definitely a weird way to announce a Smash character, and you can't help but wonder if it has something to do with careers. Like, if that kind of threw things off. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, to be honest.
I mean, that's probably a big factor involved in this whole Direct in general, I can imagine. I mean, I think this has thrown off their plans considerably. There's probably going to be some significant delays that we're just not going to know about because they haven't announced them, so...
Yeah. So, I mean, the Direct even opens with that.
Yeah.
Now, right at the start of the presentation, it says that a lot of these dates may not be set in stone. So I imagine they shifted a bunch around.
Right. I think this was a good thing to do. I think about the poor people at Nintendo and all the crap they've been dealing with on Twitter for the last several months about when a Direct was going to be. And I can only imagine that being amplified by 10 if Smash fans had to wait till June to hear about the first character in Fighters Pass 2. So I think this was a good move in terms of just saying, like, hey, we're setting your expectations now. Like, we're giving you the date and the time of both reveal and release, and we're going to let you know what series it's from, just to kind of, like, throw people a bone. And the way they framed it, like, development's going to take a little while longer, does to me kind of implicate that this is a delay from whatever their internal schedule was.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So I think they probably, before the world went to hell, decided that they were going to reveal probably at this Direct that we were going to get a character reveal or something more than what we got, and because of everything going on, circumstances changed, so they still gave us something, even if it wasn't what they initially planned or hoped for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, too. This virus has definitely just thrown the world into array, so...
Yeah. I think it's definitely interesting to consider this ARMS character in the wider spectrum of Smash reveals, because now, after Byleth, now we're setting expectations straight out of the gate that, hey, this isn't a third-party character, so going forward we can expect both, which I think is, that's a good expectation for Nintendo to set from the beginning this time. Also, I think it's kind of cool, I think, John, you're the one mentioning this, the fact that we know an ARMS character has now made it, in my opinion, that puts Rex and Pyra back on the table. Because
sure.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is another one of those games like ARMS that was just, the timing was bad, right? Like, the release timing was bad for Smash Ultimate. But now that ARMS is here, I could see Rex and Pyra being, making it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, especially as, consider this as well, a lot of people think that spirits deconfirm fighters, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the ARMS cast are spirits.
Right.
So this opens up a ton for the speculation community. Like,
Exactly.
spirits could be playable, assist trophies could be playable if it is Springman, which it probably isn't, but nothing is set in stone.
Yep, that is entirely true. And I'm just happy ARMS made it in. I've been wanting ARMS forever, and I'm glad that we finally have it. So now we just have to wait for who it could be. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another big reveal, or not reveal, but we saw more of it, being the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Does someone want to give us their impressions of what Nintendo showed off here?
It looked good. So this was it was more of a debut, because the last one showed us a lot of scenes that we already saw in the original game, whereas this one went all out and showed us a brand new post-game area. Well, just a post-game campaign, I guess, called, is it Future Connected, I believe it was?
I think it was, yeah.
And it seems to star Shulk and Melia. They've only shown those two. And basically, the Biona's Shoulder, which they teased in the previous Direct, is going to be seemingly the main area of this place. I don't know if there's going to be more cut content in there. But the way of sort of bringing in the cut content is, rather than just shoving it into the core story, they've put it towards the end of the game. And it seems really interesting. And they actually have recasted Melia, though, by the sounds of it. She was voiced by Jenna Coleman, who voiced Clara in Doctor Who. But I think she's too big for that now. So they think they've just got someone else entirely new for that. But the game as a whole looks so good. This remake, it looks like they've redone everything. The animations, the visuals, the soundtrack. It just seems like a full-fledged remake.
Yeah, it really does look like more like a from-the-ground-up remake than I was expecting. And it's just looking great. I am so excited to revisit this world, and with completely new textures, high definition. It's such a striking world anyway, and it always felt wrong that it was confined to standard definition for so long. And I'm just, what they're doing here, I don't think I was expecting as much as what we're getting in terms of just how much they're redoing everything. I think if I had one complaint, possibly, it's that Shulk sometimes, his character model, sometimes looks a little weird to me. Like, something about the transition, there's something a little off to me, but of course that's just based on a trailer.
There's Shadow of the Colossus all over again.
Yeah,
I mean the art still is different. The original, well, maybe the Wii just couldn't convey the art style, but everyone does look a little bit different. I do appreciate though how they've updated the continuity to match Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in some areas though, quite subtly. Alvis, who's a pretty prominent character in this game, used to have a key around his neck, but they've now given him like an Aegis core crystal. So they are really tying Xenoblade 1 and 2 together, in very subtle ways, though I suppose we'll see a Future Connected is less subtle about it, but because of course in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Shulk does visit Rex and Pyra in, I guess kind of an offshoot sort of spin-off area, but maybe that'll be incorporated somehow in the remake.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're really going out of their way to deliver things that players might not be expecting, on top of what they are expecting, so that's super cool. Also, we're getting a bunch of remastered music, which is really neat. Like, and a ton of it. I think you were saying, John, what, like 80 tracks or something? Yeah,
and you can hear it in the trailer. When they're playing, what's the main, like, action theme called in cutscenes? I can't remember.
It's not You Will Know Our Names, that's the boss theme.
Right, I think you know what I mean, though, but you can hear
I know what you mean,
them have an entire new riff on that song, and it really brings it to new heights, and that's already a blood-pumping song, but the way they've gone even further with it, it really does sort of give it a bit more punch.
Yeah.
So yeah, and obviously music's one of the biggest parts of Xenoblade, perhaps more than the visuals. It's just stunning.
Right.
And, speaking of music, though, the European Collector's Edition comes with a freaking vinyl. It looks incredible.
Awesome. That is so cool.
The American one doesn't, but the European one doesn't.
That's so unfortunate too, because like it's had a resurgence here as well. So I don't know why they're skipping it here, but that is neat. That's a really cool.
Well, thing. John, I appreciate you grabbing me one in advance, man. Thanks, appreciate that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the topic of RPGs, they also showed off more of Bravely Default 2 and announced a demo, which Derek is literally streaming as we discuss this right now. So what did you guys think of this?
It looks gorgeous. I mean, you guys know I've lost my mind when Bravely Default 2 was originally announced during the Game Awards. I love Bravely Default, Bravely Second, and seeing these towns and seeing that kind of painterly diorama-type art style and visual style in HD on the big screen, it's everything I wanted so far. Visually, it's everything I wanted, and I just can't go. I can't wait to go play this demo. I got to hear this music. I want to play this game. It looks like everything I wanted so far. I am really excited.
Ash, the towns in HD look so freaking good.
They do, and the snow effects in that one area with the snowy area, that looked beautiful. Like, honestly, this is exactly what I wanted from the game visually, and I kind of figured they were going to deliver because Bravely Default already was so strikingly unique when it, the original came out from a visual standpoint, and I knew they were going to double down on that, and they have, and it looks just as awesome as I expected.
It still kind of has that chibi style, but a lot of the effects are quite realistic. Like there's a part when they're on the beach and the waves are coming through.
Right.
Those waves look kind of real, whereas the characters are still kind of cartoony. So it's a weird kind of mix of art styles, but it does kind of work. And the original did that too, like the towns were hand-drawn, whereas you're a 3D model. But yeah, it all comes together quite well. And the scope of this looks insane too. I think this was the longest they showed a game for in this Direct, like around 5 minutes-ish.
Wow.
Right, it was that and Xenoblade, I think, were the two longest segments.
Yeah, and previously we saw, like, those seconds of gameplay from the Game Awards. It was barely anything.
Right.
So to get this full reveal was pretty big. It's pretty much the reveal of the game.
And I did appreciate that the trailer went out of their way to be like, okay, the new characters in a new world. So now we know exactly how this is positioned. This is kind of like, how Final Fantasy games are connected. They aren't direct sequels. It's like same concept, same general theming, but this is a new world, new characters, not a sequel to Bravely Second.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to... I think I already summarized it pretty well, but then for me, I was actually pretty jazzed, as I said, for the Ring Fit Adventure DLC update, which adds a couple different modes, like the rhythm modes, as well as the jogging exercises, which you can just jog through the world, enemies free. Who else owns Ring Fit here? Is it just me and John? Yeah,
I want to. I can't find it.
I know
anywhere.
that's the worst thing about this is they announced this cool update and there's nowhere to buy it right now. So if you don't have it, you're kind of out of luck. Unless you want to spend like $500 on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up Ring Fit when it came out, but I admittedly have not played it very much. I got into it very briefly and then just kind of fell off because life happened, but I do want to try it again, seeing these updates.
Your life's not happening anymore, Steve, so now's the perfect time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now life is not a problem.
They also added a female voice for Ring, which is just a neat little addition. Something they didn't have to do, but it's nice having that. So yeah, that's just like a pleasant, free update. They didn't need to do it. The game's, again, selling out everywhere. And I actually got a chance to try out all the songs already. I did a whole little video for it. And it's a workout. Like, at first it's like, oh, this is easy. Then after like 3 minutes, like, oh my god, this is killing me. I was sweating up a storm just before this discussion. And yeah, I love it. So it's so cool that they're supporting that game.
I have a question, though, for the songs. I've not seen the video yet or tried it myself, but the Jump Up Superstar makes sense. Splatoon music makes sense. What's the Breath of the Wild song that you dance to?
So here's what's cool about it. Besides Jump Up Superstar is the only proper full song. The rest are actually compilations or like melodies that go from one song to the next, and they work super well. The Breath of the Wild transitions between the Guardian theme to I think like Hyrule Castle at some point maybe. It's just got like boss themes. It's got a ton going on in there.
Cool.
Splatoon does the same thing, and same thing with Wii Fit too, just to a lesser degree. So yeah, I really loved what they did there, and they actually mix those songs together in a really fun way that gets your heart pumping. Both because you're working out, but also just because it sounds really cool. Alright, next up, they announced a Panzer Dragoon remake Shadow Drop, so that's out now, I believe, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm downloading it at the moment. I've played every Panzer Dragoon game, even Saga. I love the series, but there's something off about this. I haven't played it yet. Just the way it looks, it doesn't have the strikingly beautiful tones of the original. And they were doing a VR game that they just announced, and that VR game seems to capture the style perfectly. Whereas this, it just kind of looks a bit cheap.
Yeah, like this should be a lot more exciting than it is. I feel like, man, it's a remake of Panzer Dragoon. It's shadow dropped. It's here today. It's available now. But yeah, just looking at the footage, as you said, John, something feels off about it. Not saying that it might be good. You know, you haven't played it yet, I haven't played it yet, but just from first impressions visually, something doesn't feel right here. And so I'd be curious to hear your impressions.
Yeah, I haven't played Panzer Dragoon a ton. It was more of a game my brother was into. I like the series. I definitely haven't played through every game like you, John, so I think you have me beat here, but I played it on the Saturn back in the 90s when you were like a baby. And I did enjoy it. So coming in as somebody who has a very casual interest in it, I'm excited to see it. And again, my memories of it aren't strong enough to feel like it's, to get the same feeling that it's wrong or off in some way. It definitely looks like a lower budget title, which makes sense because it's a lower priced game. But I'm interested to see it. Like I'm going to be picking it up today too. I'll be curious to talk with you after we've both had a chance to play it to see kind of where it falls based on our different experiences.
And they said that it's coming in spring. I think they've just missed that by a couple of days, so they kind of made their goal. But communication on this game has been so low since the announcement back in the September... Was it E3? Yeah, it was E3 Direct they announced this. And yeah, I'm eager to play this because Panzer Dragoon releasing this century is anything that's quite remarkable. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like this is a cult classic. It's not particularly popular, but I just feel like it needed more, just more of a treatment than this.
And John, you mentioned spring there. I'm going to use that as a segue to spring to our next topic, being Animal Crossing New Horizons Bunny update, which also happens in spring, of course. I don't think there's a whole lot to say here, but they showed off a little bit how the Bunny Day holiday is going to work, where, like on Easter, you can go around looking for Easter eggs by digging up holes that the bunny, planted with little eggs there. And I think that's just a really cute way of handling it. Looks like just a fun little holiday, and it will be the first one in the game.
Yeah, right. I'm really excited for this. One thing that they kind of glossed over and that people wouldn't notice unless they looked closely was that they announced that an update is coming right after, which adds Earth Day. And that's not really the important part. Earth Day's cool, but they show off Leaf, who is a character who is not yet in the game.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice.
So Leaf is a special NPC that was in previous games, and we have a video going up on the channel soon where we test every single amiibo and amiibo card, hundreds of them, and we tested Leaf, and he did not work. And the fact that he is being shown off as being in the next update means that that card very likely will gain support. So Nintendo, it looks like they're going to slowly start adding some of these special characters back in.
That's cool.
Are you saying there's a new Leaf coming to Animal Crossing?
Yikes.
Oh, man.
Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the final, I think that what is, well I guess, okay, there's a couple more first party things. They showed off a little bit more of the Pokemon Sword / Shield DLC, but was there really anything new there?
There was nothing new. It was literally a recap of the announcement back in January.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, what they showed doesn't look all that inspiring. Like, I feel like, I mean, it's not out yet, of course, we don't know, but it just feels like they're not going in with this DLC maybe as much as fans might hope they are. I don't know. It just didn't do a lot for me. Yeah.
I mean, the entire DLC area takes place in a wild area, so like, it's a fully 3D area. That's kind of cool, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I feel like everything about Pokemon since its launch has been pretty underwhelming. I played through the game and I enjoyed it just fine, but nothing has had me clamoring for this expansion pass.
You're not loving your new Pokemon home?
I'm already on to Animal Crossing. I'm not coming back.
You already moved out, and yeah.
Yep. They don't shame me for not visiting my Pokemon for years at a time.
Do you think there's a chance we'll get another Pokemon Direct that focuses on the DLC, or is there just not enough meat there for them to even do that?
Yeah, maybe not. I guess if you show more, you're more or less showing everything. It doesn't seem to be that expansive.
Right. I feel like there isn't enough unless there's something huge that they've been hiding, which I doubt. Mm-hmm. Also, speaking to Directs in general, I think the next one really has to outline what Nintendo has planned for the rest of the year.
I think you're totally right. Like, what's going on? So, but we do know about one game, Steve, that's happening later this year, and that again is Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, which I'm oddly hyped for. I've already said my piece on this. It references Wii Play, a lot, specifically Wii Play Tanks, which I freaking love. Are you guys excited for this?
I think if any other publisher released a game called Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, I would not even look at it.
No,
it sounds like shovelware, right?
That's a horrible name. That is the worst possible name.
It's a really bad name.
Yeah, but it looks so good. Every single game looks like it could be its own little eShop game. Right. I'm really excited for this.
I guess basically, if they charge full price, which we don't know if they will or not, but that's basically $1 a game, which seems not unreasonable.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and yeah, like it's really, if it was coming from anybody else, that name I'd be like you said, John, I'm not even looking at it. But Yeah, I'm not excited for it. I'm just kind of, it's there. I'm definitely not as hyped as you are, Andre. I don't know if anybody is, but I'm very happy for you.
Do you not understand the brilliance of Wii Play Tanks, Ash?
To be fair, I didn't play a lot of Wii Play. I played a bit of it, so it is lost on me because I didn't play a lot of it. So I am looking forward to discovering.
Atari, so it's basically the same thing.
Okay, well then, yeah, I could see that being really exciting. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm hyped, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it has online too, which is something that's going to help connect us all in these dark times.
That's true.
Do we have a release date for this, actually? Do we know when this is coming?
I think it was June.
June. Oh, wow, okay. So, yeah, that's actually not too far away. So,
yeah.
I wonder if that used to be the big E3 reveal that they threw in.
Oh, God,
this is what they're going to close
on.
Oh,
God, right?
We have one more announcement.
It does actually look really good. Like, I'm legit excited to play this. I don't know that I'm going to be pulling it out wherever I'm at, considering wherever I'm at is probably my house for the time being. But like you said, online play actually sounds fun because I used to, go to a lot of friends' houses and have board game nights, and this could be a good stand-in for that during this time.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect thing about this is, like, something that's become more popular over the years, or, like, different kinds of bars, or not even bars, but, like, just board game-focused venues, right? You go there, you can grab a snack, coffee, or drink, and sit down and play a board game. But now you can have that experience wherever you go, basically. I mean, granted, you're not getting the super elaborate board games that people often play, like Pandemic, to use a horrible example, given the times. But it is that, like, basic idea in one card, and I really do like that, so... Alright, moving on. We had a whole bunch of third-party announcements, including things like Burnout Paradise, Bioshock the Collection. We saw more of, I don't even know what all were announced as which ones we knew about before, but we saw more of Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Borderlands Handsome Jack Collection, XCOM 2 Mr. Driller Drill Land, Catherine Full Body. So, are you guys excited for some of these?
I would be more excited if you didn't already know about Catherine, Bioshock, XCOM through like trademarks. They've been around for months now, but
that's true.
Cool games.
Yeah, these are badly kept secrets, but I think in a broad sense, it's exciting to see the Switch's library get filled out with even more games from various generations. Yeah. Just to have all this stuff on one console. I mean, if you look at the Switch's library in general across different console generations, it's pretty crazy just how diverse and inclusive it is. And this is just more of that.
The Switch really is the ultimate virtual console.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This kind of covers pretty much everything, minus Nintendo's own games.
Imagine playing Bioshock in the palm of your hands. That's just so exciting for me. I can't wait to revisit Rapture.
I am, for one, stoked to go back to Bioshock 2. I'm one of those weirdos who, that's my favorite Bioshock game, and I'm actually really looking forward to going back to it.
Ooh, do you think they'll add gyro to Bioshock?
Oh, I hope they better.
I hope so, yeah.
It's weird playing a game on Switch without, first-person shooter without gyro.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I think they've announced the Bioshock Collection will not have everything on the cartridge, which is to be expected. They're big games. Probably the same with Borderlands, but honestly, I've never really got that into Borderlands, so this announcement was kind of lost on me. It's cool that it's coming, but I'm not too interested.
I'm particularly excited for Burnout Paradise, just because I love arcade racers. You guys know that. Arcade racers, there aren't really any being released right now, and so even if it is a remaster or re-release, it is really cool to have the entirety of Burnout Paradise in the palm of your hands, and I'm wondering if it's going to include the DLC area as well. But
probably,
yeah, I think so. I think probably so. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, hey, look, Namco's not making Ridge Racer right now, so I will absolutely take Burnout Paradise on the Switch. I think that's awesome.
Here's the funny thing too, Ash, is EA brought Burnout Paradise to PS4 and Xbox One last year and avoided the Switch. So I don't know what's changed since then, but it really should have come out last year.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, yeah, it was always going to happen probably, so it's nice that it's actually, we know it's coming now, even though, again, it wasn't a very well-kept secret.
Yeah, I want to be excited for Burnout Paradise on the Switch. I like Burnout Paradise, but I think I already read somewhere that it's like $50. And it's $20 on every other platform. Which,
yeah, it's that Switch tax.
That stings.
So are you feeling burned out by Burnout Paradise?
I'm definitely feeling the heat a little bit.
But I guess what other game is like this on Switch though? Like, does Switch have another game like Burnout Paradise?
And one advantage too to it possibly being on Switch, and I don't know how vibrant the communities are elsewhere. I'm guessing far less so than they used to be. Whereas on Switch, you're probably going to have a fairly vibrant community given the fact that this has never been on the Nintendo platform before, and you're going to have a lot of people playing for the first time. Like, I never got into the game myself too much originally, but I have been curious about dipping my toe back in, so I'd like to try it out. And that game is very focused on the online experience. So being able to play with a bunch of other people for the first time, essentially, could be fun. So,
yeah.
It does have some of the best DLC ever in what is basically the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Okay, that's awesome. I approve of that. The only thing I wish is I wish it were just Burnout 3. Burnout 3 Takedown, the objective best Burnout game.
I'm with you on that. Burnout 3 is definitely the best.
Catherine Full Body's exciting for probably not the reason because it's Catherine, but the reason that Atlus is stepping more forward into bringing games to Switch. So we've had Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is that's a Koei Nintendo game, but this is the first proper Atlus game to come to the Switch. And I think a lot of people are probably thinking, like, is Persona next? And maybe, because Catherine Full Body was a PS4 and Vita exclusive in Japan. This came out, I think, in 2019, maybe 2018, but the fact they brought it to Vita when the Switch was so prominent was strange to begin with, but it's finally on Switch.
I guess it's weird when you consider, I mean, not only, like Persona you would think is next, but also it's really strange that we haven't heard anything about Shin Megami Tensei 5 still. Not that I was expecting it this Direct Mini, obviously, but it's just weird that, we've got Atlus stepping forward with games on Switch, and yet we don't know anything about Shin Megami Tensei 5, and it was announced so long ago.
3 years. That was the Switch reveal game back in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expect more from Atlus from here on in, so Catherine's a great sign for that. And Catherine is a great game in and of itself. And this is the expanded version, so that's cool too.
Yeah, that's good news, so... Yeah, I mean, we definitely got a lot. I mean, we definitely have a fair amount. I mean, there's definitely content coming up. So there's definitely things to play, which is good. It's just in the first party spectrum, it's still looking a little bit light as far as we're aware.
Right.
Any other thoughts, guys? Anything else from the Direct that we haven't touched on yet, or anything else you want to bring up?
I don't have much affinity to Mr. Driller, but I think it's cool that he's back. It's been a long time since Mr. Driller came along. I think this is a remaster of the GameCube one, which only came out in Japan, so that's pretty cool as well.
I didn't even know there was a GameCube one.
Well, there we go.
Mr. Driller being here kind of makes me wonder what's going to happen with that Klonoa announcement that happened several months back. Because it seems like there might be either like a remaster or maybe just a re-release of the Klonoa Wii version coming to Switch, but there was some sort of Klonoa trademark announcement or leak that happened several months ago, and nothing's come of it yet, so seeing Mr. Driller here just kind of reminds me of that. Also, Shinsekai. Capcom shadow dropped this game, Shinsekai, on the eShop that appears to be an underwater 2D Metroidvania-esque, and I want to be excited about it because that sounds really cool, but I don't know. What we saw, the trailer, it looked kind of janky. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't really get much of an impression on this. I was just about to say, in your notes here, Ash, you've put looks janky, so
yeah,
that sums it up.
It just did. It just didn't look super polished, but again, it was a very narrow look at the game. But it was just weird. It was kind of a thing, like, oh, Capcom, here's this new game, but it just didn't really have much of an impact. So it is curious though that it's there.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. An underwater Metroidvania sounds interesting. I do agree that it looks like it lacks polish in a pretty big way.
Yeah.
But, that said, if there was a demo or something, I would want to try it out. But there's nothing about it that's making me want to run to the eShop and buy it right now.
Same.
Capcom's name being on this does nothing for me. It doesn't make it seem like a higher quality product.
Whereas Nintendo's name should be in Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics.
Exactly.
So real quick, what would you guys rate this? And I know this is kind of weird, because are we rating as a Direct or is it rating as a Direct Mini? I say we rate as a Direct. It's still a Direct. It's within the spectrum of Directs. What letter grade do you give this one?
I mean, I was satisfied by it. I think it did a good job updating us on some games we already knew. But compared to the previous Mini, which had Mario Tennis revealed, had Dark Souls revealed, had Tropical Freeze revealed, it's not on that scale. So maybe like a D-.
Okay.
Wow, that was a lot lower than I was expecting. I was gonna say, I guess it is, of course, down to subjective taste into what you're into. I'm a big RPG guy, so for me there was a lot here. I'm gonna give it like a B-. B.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
For me, I'd say that this is purely like an average direct. It had some stuff I liked, it had some stuff I didn't care about. I think it was really middle of the road, so I'd give this one just a flat C.
Yeah, I think I probably come in there because there wasn't a whole lot in the way of big announcements, but the small things that they had that resonated with me, they really resonated with me. Again, Clubhouse Games. Any reference to Wii Play Tanks, I'm there. I'm there day one. And the Ring Fit stuff, like, it's not huge, but I love that they're updating that game and with some meaningful content. I really appreciate that. I like the Animal Crossing update too, but yeah, beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot aside from maybe some third-party games I'm looking forward to myself. So yeah, I'd give it probably, dare I say, a C, maybe C minus. So.
And not to be doom and gloom, but I don't really expect much out of this year now. I think a lot of stuff's going to get pushed back, a lot of stuff's going to be delayed. Nintendo they always have finished games that they're just waiting to release, and I think Pikmin 3 and 3D World have been rumored forever. They're probably going to come at some point, but the virus could very well push them back to who knows when. Yeah,
it could be too. I wonder just how affected their announcement schedule. Like maybe them knowing it's affecting some of the bigger games that are purposely holding off on some announcements now, so they have some for later directs when they might have fewer now than they would have otherwise. So it's impossible to say what's happening exactly. But yeah, I mean, I assume we'll get another direct within the next few months. I would hope, but you know, it's impossible to say given the world as it is. So.
Right.
Alright, cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up. So thank you all for watching our discussion of the mini direct. I just can't wait to find out who that ARMS character is myself, so hopefully we don't have to wait too long for that. And of course, if you like the discussion, make sure to click that subscribe button and ring that bell to stay up to date on all of our discussion videos, plus analysis and whatever else we end up posting. Alright guys, we'll catch you later. Bye.